Have you ever heard the tragedy of Bo Burnham? The dark side of comedy is a pathway to many abilities some would consider to be most not cash money.
Is it possible to learn this power?
Not from a YouTuber.
Did you guys think that little sketch was stupid? Well, it was. I'll be the first to admit that it was. You know what it's not nearly as stupid as? Writing a script for this video in late March, early April, only for this clown, this stupid giant doof, to announce his first special in years and get all kinds of critical acclaim before I can get this out. Screw it, let's do it anyway.
I'm 19 years old, I'm a young comedian. I hate that term, young comedian, I prefer prodigy. A lot of other comics think I'm a hack because I use music in my act. There's such comedy purists that they don't think that my act could work without gimmicks. So this is for all those comics out there, and judge this. What do you call a kid with no arms and an eye patch? Names.
At this point, it's almost cliche to call Bo Burnham an anomaly of modern entertainment. As a high schooler, he made a handful of viral comedy tunes, amassing a cult following and scratching his own itch as an onstage performer, before dropping a Billboard chart-topping comedy album at the age of 19. The coinciding special also earned him the title of youngest comedian to get his own hour-long feature on Comedy Central.
I'm just a kid, and maybe I'll grow out of it.
Not long after that, he developed and starred in a single-camera sitcom, Zach Stone Is Gonna Be Famous, which aired for one season on MTV.
Hanging with Zach.
A second special, What, was eventually released on his own YouTube channel as a free gift to his audience, while his third and at this time final special, Make Happy, debuted on Netflix in 2016. In recent years, he's made several appearances in movies, directed comedy specials for other comedians like Chris Rock, is reportedly set to write music for a Sesame Street movie, and most notably made a splash as a first-time feature film director with his middle school set drama, 8th Grade. Yes, it's well received. Yes, it's won awards. No, I haven't seen it. What do you take me as, some loser who watches good things for his own personal enjoyment and enrichment? Nah.
Wow, you truly live a sad and fruitless life.
Well, thank you for the input, acclaimed up-and-coming drama documentary YouTuber Sister Zio. That was more or less what I was pointing out. Didn't really need help saying it. But yeah, that is quite a resume, the likes of which is rarely seen so early in a public figure's life. It's comparable to the career of Orson Welles, a multimedia virtuoso himself who already had substantial work under his belt before making Citizen Kane at age 25. It's perhaps a bit hyperbolic on my part to pull that name, but I wouldn't even feel the need to go there if I didn't see the value in Bo's work. And from what I can see, he's a uniquely talented artist, unafraid to tap into whatever means he can to deliver his own brand of satire and observational humor, the quality of which can be measured by just how much it's resonated with peers and audiences of all ages.
I'm a big fan of Bo's, and you kind of had a quick trajectory in a very short time, and people gave you shit for it.
It's very hard to watch someone that funny, that young, when you think of how unfunny you were at 20 years old.
All I did at 20 is worry about my hair, I think.
Yeah, that's a dead end. You are so clearly a very unique fellow that it's clear that just by being yourself, that stuff comes out of you.
I mean, when you kill it on Green Room and have a boomer like Mark Maron have you on his podcast, I'd say you're pretty much set.
But you're kind of a gifted guy, I think.
Well, I'm 21 and I do comedy.
Yeah, but no one just does that.
I, and likely many of you watching this right now, relate to his story and output because of his humble roots. A kid with a keyboard, a webcam, and access to a wacky little website called YouTube. Especially in the time frame of when he took off in particular, it was clear as day. With a little patience and hard work, a funny or entertaining video on your channel could be your one-way ticket to glory. The freedom to cultivate a fan base who will eat up every song, film, or book you put your name on. So just what kind of advice does he give to people who are in the same position that he was as a teenager?
I'd say, well, you gotta just take a deep breath and give up. The system is rigged against you. Your hard work and talent will not pay off. And we're tall white guys. We overcame nothing to be here. There was nothing standing in our way and we barely got here. You have no chance.
What a fantastic message. Let's get that out there.
And there's going to be like little children singing later and they have the light of God in their eyes and they should be happy. But once you get a debit card, give up.
Okay.
Oof. That's a big oof. Anyone who's even a casual follower of Bo Burnham knows his MO, which is so against the grain of conventional wisdom. Sure, he'll make occasional concessions to the young or the young at heart to try to provide positive encouragement for those who want to be creatively fulfilled.
There's this idea that, like, I'm not a filmmaker, I'm not making anything legit until I become good or until I, become older. You're already doing it. You're already on the journey of making it. Congratulations and welcome to it, and keep doing it, it's good.
But so much of his material has been aimed squarely at the entertainment complex itself, the hypocrisies and manipulation practiced by those who were a part of it, at no point excluding himself, mind you, and the modern-day conundrum of anyone with a phone feeling compelled to perform and package every waking moment of their life through social media.
Hey, I meant to ask, how many passive-aggressive tweets have you made in the past year about people who are more famous than you?
Yeah, I'd rather not talk about that right now.
Didn't you, make a video on why it's bad to use Twitter too much, though?
Yeah, Zio, don't you have something better to do than point out all of my bullshit?
No.
It's a testament to Bo's strengths as an artist that even for things far back as his earliest stand-up, I seem to pick up on more little things the older I get.
Obama, could you pass some hope to the Pope? I know a couple dudes who want to elope. See, the church said nope, so the bros can't cope. Bros can grow, but the bros can't cope. They've been in love and they benedicted. Who said they shouldn't? Benedict did. Because in the holy land of the Lord, he's the holy landlord and dicks are evicted.
So much of his work aging like wine is indicative of a guy who, at age 23, had this at the front of a New York Times review of what? If any comedian could have a midlife crisis at 23, it would be Bo Burnham. Jesus Christ. Now, in the YouTube age, an ever-present factor is that of, well, age. The primary consumers are children and teens. Much of the content is engineered and dressed to appeal to kids and teens. Many of the top-grossing channels are kids and teens. People, artists, and creatives especially, often struggle with comparing, the conflation of where they are in life versus where others are in their own age bracket. Or in my case, often substantially below said age bracket. This complex, as irrational and nonsensical as it ultimately is in the grand scheme of things, results in me gravitating towards those leading the life I'd like to live. Making things. For myself. And for a living. Bo is, and has been for years now, one of a handful of creators who's provided me with a combination of inspiration, envy, and motivation to keep at this pursuit of success. And yet, the older I get, the more tired I get, the more I question if that's something I should even be doing. Because with each passing year of not having made it, with each lesson learned of how worse off I could personally be, with each revelation of how I and countless others are cogs in a machine of greed, inequity, and injustice, the more I realize how integral these bullshit, petty pursuits of clout and notoriety ultimately are in sidetracking people from more achievable forms of happiness and content. The more we all try to be the fucking dude, the more we try to build our own fucking castle against the adversity of the citizen, the more sure I am that should I even get those heralded halls of clout and comfort, it won't be enough.
So we flock to performers by the thousands because we're the few that have found an audience, and then I'm supposed to get up here and say, follow your dreams, as if this is a meritocracy. It is not, okay? I had a privileged life, and I got lucky, and I'm unhappy. I know very little about anything, but what I do know is that if you can live your life without an audience, you should do it.
My part of the show is a little bit silly and a little bit pretentious, like Shakespeare's Willie or Noam Chomsky wearing a strap-on. This is gonna be truly cynical and whatever, but when people are like, why do we laugh at our politicians and think at our comedian, I'm like, yeah, political satirists are funny, but they're not Noam Chomsky. They're not like let's not pretend like these are the experts.
So the head of one of the congressional subcommittees, New Republican, explained that global warming can't be a problem because God promised Noah that there wouldn't be another flood.
But why do you care about stupid people?
Stupid people, these people have power. Major business lobbies, for example, have announced that they're funding big propaganda campaigns to convince people that this doesn't matter.
I kind of want to just tell kids, defer to the people that know things on the things that actually matter. I'm an expert on I'll take down Katy Perry for you. I'm pretty well educated in that area. I can kind of tell you why, like, Taylor Swift sleeps with her eyes open and is lying to you. I would want to try to make an idea out of something, and I am not qualified for it, so I have no interest. But the issue with just anything in regards to Trump and the arts that I find is that, like, the weapon that doesn't seem to work or just be exciting to me is satire. He is self-satirizing, so an approach to a story with him, I'd want it to be natural and cold and boring and show the sort of quiet moments that he shares and not the sort of pyrotechnics of what he is as a person. Because you try to spin that, he's already spinning at a rate that's so fast there's nothing else to do. So he is his own art installation. He is his own performance of himself. I just think like comics are crybabies and like give me a break. You get up there and you talk for an hour and then they have an impulse to be heard too. You know what I mean? This is if it's rock and roll, well, who cares what they think about it? That's part of the gamble of what performing is. It's meant to be interpreted in any way it can. And I don't know, I'm just like, you know, my mother's a hospice nurse, so it's hard for me to look at, you know, a couple college kids with signs outside a comedy show and think that I'm, you know, up against anything structurally.
If anything, Bo's gift, like Spider-Man, stick with me please, is his curse. Before he even turned 20, he A, knew who Noam Chomsky was, B, used him in a joke, and C, years later, demonstrated a view of pop culture, sociology, and the corruption therein that was quite congruent with that guy's literature and philosophy on the propaganda model and the modern age. I was 4 months ago years old when I finally understood any of that guy and what he was selling.
Lanooski.
What, Zio?
How old were you then?
27. Do you even know who Noam Chomsky is, Zio?
No, because I'm a fucking boomer like you.
Yeah, well, that's literally the point I'm making right now, so why don't you crack open a fucking Wikipedia article and learn something about the world you live in for once?
Okay, then.
Okay. Sorry I yelled.
It's okay.
So let's go back to the title. The tragedy of Bo Burnham isn't so much his as it is ours. In essence, he reached the ultimate truth about contemporary success, the power structures around it, and the artificiality of fame in general, long before any of us are expected to. Assuming, of course, we even do it all. As for me, a fan of his, a practitioner of a similar craft, a Western dreamer of the glitz and the glam, who's had his head in the clouds since he was old enough to pick up a camera, what can I do with this truth? Well, Bo, not that you'll see this, while I'm too stubborn and proud to take the L of admitting that my own attempts to get even half the luxuries you've amassed for yourself are, at the end of the day, futile and likely not going to fill other holes in my heart, brain, and soul, take a small comfort in knowing that I at least get it now. I do. It's just, well, not really good at anything else.
That's pretty fucking cringe.
Why the hell are you even in this fucking video? So, thank you guys for popping by and watching this one. I'd like to give a shout out to Sister Zio for quite rudely popping in to roast me, and that's pretty much all she did. Just as a closing statement, I do have to say how much I'm looking forward to that new Bo Burnham special that's supposed to drop on Netflix at some undisclosed moment in time. I think what's going to be really interesting about it, assuming the descriptions are true, it was shot at home, alone, no audience, and no crew. Big fan of his comedy. Big fan of, like, progressive experimental comedy as well. Hannibal Buress put out a pretty cool YouTube special that used, like, cutaways and special effects and other bullshit to kind of supplement the stand-up in its raw form. Like, Bo has always tried to progress the form. He was a smartass in his first one who had, like, this really brainy written word background. He made really esoteric jokes that you wouldn't expect someone his age to make. And then in the second one, it got gayer, more musical. And then the third one just, like, took all of those sensibilities and just cranked it to, you're my bitch now, welcome to my brain. So the fact that this next one is gonna go even deeper, hopefully. I really hope it's not just a $100,000 shitpost. That'd be really funny, but it would be sad too. I'm really looking forward to this. Down in the comments, what's your favorite Bo Burnham special? Do you like Bo Burnham? Do you fucking hate that guy? Comment down below and give me some feedback, because I do legitimately like conversing with y'all. I'll answer it. You could even just say I am a cringelet, and you know, I'll just ask you for another one. Please, by all means, tell me I'm a cringelet. Well, if the video wasn't 10 minutes before, it is now, so peace, y'all. Subscribe if this did anything for you.